Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Is that a good level? I never really know. Come on in. Take a seat. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. My name is Andy, and my pronouns are he and they. I am your board president, sometimes drag queen. And today I am your worship associate. I am here with Andre Goheen. And today we're going to talk about love and how that relates to our UU principles and changes coming at the UUA. We don't always talk about the UUA, our broader UU world. So today we're going to be talking a lot about, what goes on beyond our walls in the larger UU world. What does that mean for our identity as Unitarian Universalists here at UUCC, but also in the broader world? When we go off to places like General Assembly or visit other UU churches or talk to our UU colleagues across the region and across the country, what does that mean? And how do we work together with our diverse congregations across our state and across our country? So welcome today. It may be a little heady with our denomination. If you're visiting today, we're very glad you're here. Hopefully you'll come and try us out again. When I first joined, people said it takes a couple of services to really get the flavor of how things go around here at UUCC. So if today is not your cup of tea, please come back and try us again. We do have a lot of different topics and whatnot around here. If this is your church home, we're still very glad that you're here with us on this Sunday. And if you're on YouTube, then welcome as well. We're glad to have you online. And I'm going to welcome up now our speaker, Andre Goheen, to do our opening words.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Andre Goheen. I am a friend of this congregation, and I'm also the spouse of the Reverend Mandy. Today, I'm going to be providing you an introduction to the UUA Article 2 study report, and I'm going to start that off with some opening words by James Baldwin. Love does not begin and end in the way that we seem to think it does. Love is a battle. Love is a war. Love is a growing up. And now we're going to have Christian come up and join us for our chalice lighting. The words will be on the screen behind me. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And now, if you will rise and body your spirit, we'll sing our opening song, hymn 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
There we go. Now we're going to have the time for all ages. Can I get a volunteer to hold my book while I read? Anybody feel brave? Oh, yes, thank you. And please, if you are young at heart or young in age, if you want to come gather around for the story. And on our theme today, the book is Love by Matt de la Peña. In the beginning, there is light, and two wide-eyed figures standing near the foot of your bed, and the sound of their voice is love. You can see that there's a mom and dad greeting the baby. A cab driver plays Love softly on his radio while you bounce and back with the bumps of the city, and everything smells new, and it smells like life. See the taxi cab? Love is everywhere. Love, too, is the smell of crashing waves and a train whistling blindly in the distance, and each night, the sky above your trailer turns the color of love. In the crowded concrete park, you toddle towards summer sprinklers, while older kids skip rope and run up the slide, and soon you are running among them, and the echo of your laughter is love. So you can hear love in people's laughter. On the night the fire alarm blares, you're pulled from sleep and whisked into the street, where a quiet old lady is pointing to the sky. Stars shine long after they flamed out, she tells you, and the shine they shine is with love. So even the stars give you love. But it is not only stars that flame out, you discover. It's summers too, and friendships and people. Yeah, sometimes love seems to go away, just like the summer. One day, you find your family nervously huddled around the TV, but when you ask what happened, they answer with silence and shift between you and the screen. Yeah, sometimes we hear bad news on television. In your dream that night, you are searching for a love that seems lost. You open and close drawers, lift cushions, empty old toy bins, but there's nothing. Where has the love gone? You wake with a start in the arms of a loved one who bends to your ear and whispers, "It's okay, it's okay, it's love." So when you have a bad dream, sometimes your parent can comfort you with love. And in time, you learn to recognize a love overlooked, a love that wakes at dawn and rides to work on the bus, a slice of burned toast that tastes like love. So sometimes love is in unexpected places. And it's love in each deep crease of your grandfather's face as he lowers himself onto an overturned bucket to fish. Anybody ever go fishing with their grandfather? It's the love in the rustling leaves of gnarled trees lined behind the flower fields. Yeah, she's enjoying the fields of flowers. And it's love in the made-up stories your uncles tell in the backyard between wild horseshoe throws. All those stories, those tall tales. And the man in rags outside the subway station plays love notes that lift into the sky like tiny beacons of light. So everyone has love. And the face staring back in the bathroom mirror, this too is love. You can love yourself. It's one of the most important loves. So when the time comes for you to set off on your own, heavy winds will sweep past your building, and great gray clouds will congregate above. Your loved ones will stand there like puddles beneath their umbrellas, holding you tight and kissing you and wishing you luck. But it won't be luck you'll leave with, because you'll have love. You will have love, love, love. The end. You. Oh, this one goes over here. All right, now we will sing our students to the RV. Take some time and calm our thoughts and center ourselves. So everyone take a deep breath with me. And I'm going to lead you through a little guided meditation so that we can all get in touch with love, the theme for today. And if anything I say during this meditation doesn't, feel right to you, or you just want to sit in quiet, that's okay. Everything is up to you. But in this meditation, this is a variation of a loving kindness meditation. And so the hope is to spread love through our human kindness. So first thing is just to settle in, get comfortable, relax your limbs a little bit, just relax. And then, if you will, I invite you to feel in your body somewhere, maybe in your chest, in your heart, but feel the feeling. See if you can recall that feeling of being loved or loving someone. It might be easy if you're here with your spouse or child or partner. Just really feel that love for them in your body. Feel it in your heart. And as you concentrate on that feeling, if you will, just imagine that feeling is actually a light that you can see and feel. You can feel the warmth of that love, and you can see that light expanding throughout your body. And just with every breath you take, just imagine that love, that glowing light is just growing and growing until it fills your whole body with light. And you're just this beaming light of love. And then as you increase your love, just imagine that our whole church is just filled with love. The whole room just bursting with the seams with love. And eventually love is just pouring out of the windows and shooting out of the cell phone tower all over Chattanooga, just covering the whole town with love. And eventually our whole state, every corner of Tennessee is just filled with love, beautiful, beautiful love. And eventually the whole country, the whole United States is just filled with love coming directly from your heart. And then imagine that love spreading all over the globe till it just reverberates back and you're just filled again with love. And we'll take another moment just to sit in that love, that feeling. And when I ring the bell, you can come up and light a candle for your joys and concerns so that we can hold that together in community.
So I was asked to come today to talk to you guys about the Article 2 study report that the UUA commissioned. My title of my sermon this morning was intended to be a little play on words. Article 2, art thou love to. The proposed changes that came from this report, that are in this report, are built on the core of what Unitarian Universalists, the core of Unitarian Universalism. Everything comes out of this report that I talked about today. It was the Article 2 study report, 2021 to 2023. This report can be found on the UUA website. Also, Farron will be sending a link out with the newsletter this week if you want to wait for that. Article 2 of the Unitarian Universalist Association bylaws and rules is where our principles and our sources are defined. It is the covenant to which all member congregations pledge themselves. As the world progresses and changes, we have to review this article to address the changes that we see and the changes in our understanding of the world around us. Over the last 3 years, that's what the Article 2 Study Commission has been doing. The last time that Article 2 had any substantial revision was over 35 years ago in 1985. And over the last 15 years, there's been numerous discussions regarding the amendments of various principles. This includes adding of an 8th principle to address racism, amending the 1st principle to include non-human life. There was a study and a report generated on the 5th principle and how UU gatherings do and don't embody an inclusive democratic process. And there's been some discussions around the amendments to the 7th principle. The UUA board established the Article 2 Study Commission to consider possible amendments to the article at the 2020 General Assembly. The board charged the commission to review Article 2 and to propose any revisions that will enable Unitarian Universalism to be a relevant and powerful force for spiritual and moral growth, healing, and justice. In this charge, they cited a report from the Commission on Appraisal titled Engaging Our Theological Diversity, which stated, UUs ranked loving as the instrumental value and mature love as the terminal value more highly than did respondents from any other group, both religious and non-religious. And therefore, they charged the Commission to root its work in love as a principal guide. Furthermore, the revised principles and purposes should guide the transformation of ourselves, our communities, and our faith into active networks of collective care, restoration, and justice. The Commission was directed to take into consideration all the previous discussions of amendments to the article. They were also urged to review the sources. The Commission is composed of 6 members of both professional and lay leaders with a diverse background. They are also joined by 4 UUA board and administration liaisons who also have a diverse background. And to the work of the Commission, which was initially convened in the fall of 2020, and began its work by hosting theological panel discussions with surveys to more fully understand the values and sources of inspiration shared across Unitarian Universalists. The Commission actively sought participation across all demographics, identities, and theological, philosophical beliefs. At the General Assembly in 2021, the Commission introduced the process in general session and held focus groups to engage the attendees. The Commission continued to conduct focus groups, individual interviews, and surveys throughout 2021. In the general session at General Assembly 2022, the Commission presented draft language for the Article 2 revision. Then again, they conducted focus groups, interviews, and surveys to get feedback on this draft. In total, the Commission engaged in 45 feedback sessions with 4,600 plus participants. Their videos reached 7,700 viewers, and surveys generated nearly 11,000 responses. Now on to the meat of the proposal. Section 1, the structure of the revision changed from the current version. So Section 1 is no longer our principles and sources. Instead, it starts off with a purpose statement. And this purpose statement is very similar to the current purpose statement. They've modified the wording in a couple of cases, but the overall feel and intent still seems to be the same. They did add a single sentence purpose to the end of the section that reads, "The purpose of the Unitarian Universalist Association is to actively engage its members in the transformation of the world through liberating love." Section 2 is the values and covenant, which in part replaces the principles section of the current article. This is where a lot of the work that was done by the Commission can be seen. And if you take a look at the cover of your order of service, you can see a image of a chalice with the word love overlaid, and around are 6 petals with single words in each: interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity. I'll give you a brief description of each of these words and what is in the proposed article, but understand this is only an introduction to these changes, and I'll leave a deep dive to yourselves and to Reverend Mandy. Interdependence. This petal speaks to our reverence to the interdependent web of life, and also to our work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Pluralism. This speaks to our free and responsible search for truth and meaning, as well as embracing diversity with respect. Justice. This petal speaks of dismantling racism and all systemic oppression. It also addresses the use of the democratic process to make decisions. Transformation. This petal addresses the fact that we are not perfect and recognizes our openness to grow and change as our understanding of the world does. Generosity. This petal speaks of sharing our faith, presence, and resources in our interdependent relationships. And finally, equity. And this speaks of the inherent worth and dignity of all persons, and to use our resources to build accessible and inclusive communities. Section 3 of the article is a new section entitled Inspirations, and this is created to address our sources. This new section does not spell out the sources in the same way that the current article does. Rather, the wording provides for the use of any source of inspiration without creating specific containers for each of them. Section 4, inclusion, has carried over from the current article, but the Commission felt that it was important to specifically address the inclusion of those of historically marginalized identities. And then Section 5, freedom of belief. This section was reworded to be, in my opinion, a little more clear. The current article states that nothing shall infringe upon the individual's freedom of belief. The revision specifically calls out that congregations may establish statements of purpose, covenants, and/or bonds of union as long as they do not require members to adhere to a particular creed. That piece with the creed was not included in our current article, and I think makes it a little more clear about what that freedom of belief is meant to be. So that's just a quick overview of what the proposed changes are to the article. What comes next is at General Assembly this year, 2023, this revision will be brought before the Assembly for discussion. There will be discussion about the wording of it, potential amendments to this revision before it goes up for a vote. Once that discussion is complete and everybody is happy with where the draft is at that point, it'll be put up for a vote. This vote is not to adopt the revision. It's rather to vote to accept the revision along with any amendments that were proposed during the assembly as the final revision. The bar for this, the acceptance of this, is a simple majority vote. Once that's completed, it will be written up and drafted and socialized among the congregations over the course of the year. And then next year, 2024, General Assembly will put the final draft up for a vote to adopt the new Article 2 into the bylaws. The 2024 vote will require a two-thirds majority vote to be successfully adopted. If at any point during these two votes, or if either of these two votes fail, a similar proposal cannot be considered for at least 2 years, during which time the commission will be remand. They'll select new members for the commission, and the process will begin again. And so that's the basics of the report. And as I said, this was just an introduction to it. Please go out to the UUA website, take a look at what's out there, and read through the report. There's a lot of good information in there. I did not cover even half of it. I just wanted to give you a taste of it. And I think we're ready for offertory.
Important news with us. You know, coming from the UUA, sometimes we think, oh, that. Hello, hello. There we go. Hi. I think sometimes it is, you know, not the most convenient thing to pay attention to the news from the UUA, but this is a wonderful chance for us to engage with this process. So thank you, Andre, for bringing this to our attention. And now we have an opportunity to practice one of those pedals from the chart there on your order of service, the pedal of generosity. And when we take this offering, it helps us do the work of the church. It helps us keep the lights on and the fans running and the piano tuned and everybody paid. But more than that, it gives us a chance to practice our values and our beliefs. So it's a way for us to engage in that principle of generosity and helping this collective sort of cooperative ministry thrive. So it's each and every one of us can play a role in that, even if you are a visitor. Now, if this is your first time here, please feel free to let the plate pass by you. But if you're feeling generous, we will gladly accept the donations. And for those of you that are members and whatnot, remember there are many different ways that we can donate. And in your order of service, you can text online or donate online. You can text to the number or give as the plate passes by you, and it will be received in love. All right, and if you'll repeat or say with me our offertory response. We give these gifts freely, committed to our mission to care, create beloved community, awaken hearts and minds, resist injustice and act with compassion, embrace life and care for the earth. To this work, we dedicate our offerings. And we will now rise in body or spirit for our closing song, number 1017 in the Teal hymnal, Building a New Way.
You know, it's the first Sunday in April, which seems like a good time to play musical chairs, doesn't it? So, so if you feel moved to move, please do. If you don't feel moved to move, don't. I'm not sure that made sense. But anyway, I didn't give you a chance to greet each other at the beginning of this service. So if you feel moved to go greet people, now's a great time to do it. But what's going to happen is when I stop the music, you're going to have to turn to the screen and sing the song no matter where you're standing. Also, so I'm going to play it a time or two, or I might just stop right in the middle of a verse. You just don't know. Also, so feel free to move around and get to know people. Again, stay in your spot if that's what's most comfortable for you. Hug each other if that's comfortable for you, and be aware of what's comfortable for other people. So, go. Whee! We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free of greed and hate and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
So what? So, first of all, it was brought to my attention that on the cover of your orders of service, this was an older image. It's no longer evolution, it is transformation. So, just so you know. But what's important to know from today is that Article 2 of our denominational bylaws has not been updated in almost 40 years. And in that time, our understanding of the world has changed, and therefore, the UUA board, through the Article 2 Study Commission, has proposed a change to reflect our current understanding. It's important to adapt and apply these lessons that we have learned through our experiences to grow mentally, spiritually, and organizationally. And who's extinguishing the chalice today? Oh, I didn't see a Christian. Christian, if you'll come up and extinguish our chalice for us. And if you'll repeat along with me. We extinguish this flame, but keep the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. And now I think Sandy Kurtz and Chen are going to come up and talk about the Green Sanctuary survey results.
Testing? All right. First times. Hi, Sandy Kurtz, and Chen here is my assistant. And some of you will remember that there was a survey that we did for the Green Sanctuary Initiative reaccreditation that we're working toward. And the first thing we have to do is have a plan that we want to submit to UUA for their approval. And we started out now with a congregational survey to find out what you are up to at home. And we now have the results. Thank you. We had 31 responses, and most of those were submitted online, but we did have some paper ones as well, and those have been added into these results. And Chen knows how to put this stuff together, so I really relied on him to make this work for us. But I know that you would want to hear the results. 31 responses is a low, it's not a low percentage. I guess about a third of people who responded and did that. That's great. However, we do realize that those are probably the more motivated of the congregation. So you can take these results with a bit of salt, I guess, as far as the totals are concerned. But nevertheless, you all did a good showing, I think, and for those who didn't do it, I hope you looked at the survey anyway, and hopefully you're inspired to do a little more. It's interesting to find out really what we're up to at home and how we're doing, even though we might be trying, but there are other ways that we can do that we might not have thought of. So, do you recycle? Yes. 6.5% of you said no, but everybody else either did curbside and drop-off, most of you, or curbside only or drop-off only. So, good total there. Do you use primarily cloth or paper napkins? Half of you, split right down the middle, really. Those of you who use napkins, think about all those trees that gave their life for you to use paper napkins. I'm just saying. So Jen, would you tell us about the water use?
Yes, so, let me, masks. All right, so we looked at your water use. We asked you to tell us how much water you use on average annually. And of all the respondents, the average water use was 32,000 gallons a year, which, that's a number. What does that mean? So some things that we could look at, we asked people, do you water your lawn? And so I wondered, does that make a difference? And it turns out not really, which is a little surprising. So if you water your lawn versus if you don't water your lawn, your water use is basically the same. I mean, could you really say 500-gallon difference on average over the year is? Well, it turns out how many people do water your lawn, though? Not that many. So if we look at our next slide. Only about a quarter of you say you water your lawn regularly. And at the same time, only about a quarter of you say that you use any fertilizer, pesticides, or herbicides on your plants as well. So, you know, we are, on the most part, letting nature take its course in our congregation. Yes, thank you. Yes, and I guess I can speak a little bit to the power use as
Go
well.
ahead, let me say, I want to say something more about the water usage. I did look up because I realized this numbers don't mean much if you don't know whether you're below or above what everybody else is using. And so I looked up what the annual use per household is in the U.S., and it is 50,000 gallons, 370 for a family of two. Wow. So, and most of our families were one or two in our survey. So so we're a little below. That's good. And I think it's just indoor, though. Maybe the outdoor might add to that. So power use. You want to talk about that?
Masks again, sorry. Yes, so we also asked, in addition to water use, power use. Now, on the survey, we asked for both electricity and gas, but the gas usage numbers were inconsistent. Some of the information was a little bit difficult for me to analyze. And so all that's reported here is electricity use. And so what does that look like for our congregation? Well, the average electricity use, and maybe Sandy, I don't know if you have average power use for the family, if you look that up for an average. Okay, maybe we can report that number separately. But for the congregation, the average electricity use for the year is 14,000 kilowatt hours a year. And similarly, we asked a few questions on what might affect that. One thing that we did collect was we asked how large your home was. And yes, that does affect it. A bigger house does use more power on average. So if you own a larger building or you live in a larger place, you tend to use more power than somebody who lives in a smaller space. I think that makes sense. We also asked things like how much of your lighting is LEDs or fluorescent lights, energy saving ones versus not. And we also asked if you buy green power. And so we looked at whether that might affect it. Yes, that does affect it, but maybe in the opposite direction than maybe you would have assumed. If you have more than half of your lights have switched to LEDs, you are using on average 15,000 kilowatt hours a year. And if you had less than 50%, well, you're averaging about 10,000 kilowatt hours a year. And the difference is not as big if you buy green power, but it is still in the opposite direction. I'm sure there's plenty of explanation for why this might be. You know, we didn't really control for too many other variables besides just the LED lights or the green power, but we can maybe imagine a few different scenarios. I don't know. Does anybody in the congregation have any hypotheses as to why this might be? I don't know. Think about it.
People with bigger houses have more LED lights.
Yes, well, maybe that is. We didn't control for size of housing. I thought that potentially if you are using more electricity, you may be more incentivized to switch. Terry?
People who are using LEDs think, okay, I've done it already, so they're not as conscientious about trying to turn things off.
That's another possibility that I've also highlighted. Yes, there's a psychological phenomenon called the licensing effect, which I've written down. And that is when you do good in one area and you feel like you could maybe cheat a little in an area. I do this all the time with exercise and maybe food. I exercise and now I want to eat everything. So if that, oh, Gary?
so much magnitudes more than lighting. So that it's probably just washing out. I mean, it could just be washing out the effects of LEDs versus incandescent.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe another explanation, and maybe in combination with something like a licensing effect, where you're making a difference in an area that maybe doesn't impact total energy use as much. Maybe you have to be careful about all the other things that do impact energy use a lot more. So maybe one last one, and then.
Quick comment. I've been, replacing. As I replace lights, I've been going with the LED things, and I've got some in my kitchen, which is where I see a lot of the LEDs. And I'm having to replace them. I thought we weren't going to have to replace them for like years because there's no filament to burn out or anything. So I'm disappointed with the LED picture.
Oh, disappointment with LEDs because we're still having to replace them.
I don't mind the light.
I see a hand, but we have a lot of other things to go through. So, okay, one last one.
Relatively small sample size.
Yes. Yes, possibly that is an effect. Although I will say this is the results of these 31 people, so it does speak to whoever responded. All right, Sandy, I'll pass it on to you.
Well, you see the rest there, green power. That would affect it, and yes, many of you do use green power, so that's good. I think also that for those who are using more LEDs or mounting up on their electricity use despite using LEDs, it seems to me that you also are not buying a lot of new bulbs, and that embedded energy that it costs to make a bulb is an environmental savings. So embedded energy, when you think of from cradle to grave things, that's an important action. So average home size, 2,758 square feet. That's a pretty good size home, and usually 2 to 3 people in that home. So sharing. taking a border or something, We have an issue with housing around here, and looks like there's plenty of space in some houses. That's an average. That's okay. The other thing, which appliances you have at home, everybody has a refrigerator. That's the good thing, and then it goes on down from there. And somebody mentioned that we did not list tankless water heaters or electric heat pumps on our list of choices. So some people have even more appliances that are hopefully Energy Star or good ones that way, using as little energy as possible. Cars, everybody has one, it looks like, at least 1 or 2 cars. And we didn't do a close count on this, but electric vehicles and Prius, you can go out there and look, and you'll see that there are plenty of them there. We don't know about the mileage. That was hard. That was hard to detail for you all answering. All of you can try to consolidate your errands. Good plan. It's hard to carpool, but actually 1/3 of you do carpool. I was kind of surprised at that. It's hard to get around Chattanooga, and anyway, you have to use a car to go most everywhere. Unless you use mass transit, and mostly you don't.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Downtown, you can use the shuttle to get around, but park your car and then ride the shuttle other places. So that's good. Now, what we promised was that if you filled out the survey, you would receive a small prize, and I have these with me. Let me go over here and get them. In my reused plastic bag. So every one of you is going to get one in this packet, a produce bag, if you did do the survey. So you will have to let us know, because this is an honesty test, because We don't have any. We don't have your names. That was that was done without knowing what your names were, who submitted which survey. So you're welcome to have one of these, and it's a produce bag that you take to the grocery store, and instead of using one of their ubiquitous little plastic bags, you use this, and they can see through it. So when they check out, you're okay, and then you can wash it. You can and reuse it. So very good. The next Green Sanctuary Initiative meeting is going to be on April 19th. That's the way before Earth Day service is the next week. So we'll be meeting right here after church. Anybody that wants to be involved in putting their plan together now that and reviewing all the ideas and things that you mentioned in the survey. We're going to be working on getting that plan finally together and submitting it. So if you'd like to be involved in that, welcome. Come the 19th after the service. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. This is Christian. How many of you are planning to attend a church event during the week in the next 2 weeks? How many of you? How many? Looks like it's about 50%, so that means the other 50% are newcomers today. So please make sure kind of to say hi to those people. What's happening next week? On Monday, we have at 4:30 the Miller Park, the standout at Miller Park. What's the topic? Do you know?
I believe it's equity.
Equity, just like what we talked today about. Then on Tuesday at 5:30, new suffragettes. By the way, I'm reading from the back page of your bulletin, so you can just hang it put it on your fridge at home. On Wednesday morning, Selina's hosting again the Wednesday coffee hour at 10 a.m. On this coming Saturday at 10 o'clock also is the quarterly council meeting that meets here. All of the committee chairs are invited. If you have an interest coming, just join us. Kind of come here on Saturday at 10 a.m. This is typically a planning session for the next few months, activities, what to do, kind of reflect also on other topics. Maybe then one more thing that I want to stress is for April 10th, so that's a Monday in a week, at 6 p.m. So Selina is inviting everybody to come here. What we've done in past summers was a yoga sessions that we did outside. We want to restart that again, kind of yoga, Monday, the April 10th at 6 p.m. here. We will have some yoga mats. You're welcome to bring your own. Try it out. If you haven't done yoga before, we have kind of an experienced yoga instructor with us. So it's a kind of a great opportunity to do some exercise with your favorite people. Any other announcements?
Thank you. So in 2 weeks from yesterday is the glorious return of the UUCC Passover Seder. And this is a tradition that we've done for years and years and years. It's coming back. It's actually after the official Passover is over because Passover coincided with spring break for Hamilton County, and we wanted enough people to be here to enjoy it. So April 15th, officially Passover will be over, but we'll be celebrating at 6 p.m. right here. And there will be a ritual ceremony, that's the Seder, and we're going to provide the juice and the matzos and the haroset, all that stuff. And then afterwards, in true UUCC style, a wonderful, scrumptious feast. You can sign up to bring food in the back. Because it's Passover, we are having some limitations, so we're following as closely as we can the kosher food guidelines, and that's outlined on the sheet back there. Basically, vegan is good. And we do have a list of recipes that we've compiled. Jen and Deity have been hard at work getting this delicious menu going together. So you can find lots of different recipes and options in the newsletter, and you can sign up back here in the back. And you're not limited to those recipes. If you have some other stuff in mind, just try to stay within those kosher guidelines. I know it's a little bit of a challenge, but maybe it's kind of like a fun scavenger hunt at the grocery store. And if you don't want to do any of that and you just want to show up, please do attend. Again, that's going to be Saturday, April 15th at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Andy.
I am Bill Dornbush. Last week, we took all your food contributions and we took them to the food pantry, and they weighed them, and they weighed 160 pounds. So thank you for that.
Thank you for these exciting news. Judith.
Well, to go along, for those of you who are getting the nets, we have now shopping bags available with a little sign on it that says, "We Recycle, Unitarian Universalist Church of Chattanooga." So for a $5 donation or any donation that you would like to make, these are available. So I hope you'll take advantage of them. They are made from recycled plastic. Thank you.
Yes. Jay, what's happening?
Oh, just want to proclaim happy Autism Acceptance Day.
Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate it. Thank you for stressing that. And did I miss any other announcements? Then otherwise, this concludes the service here, and you continue your service in this community. Thanks, everybody.